Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Anna. I'm a little bit spooky and I want to talk about skin prep today. These are the steps I take, whether it's a full glam look, full coverage, the full beat type of thing, or just a light coverage skin day. These are the steps that I take to make sure my skin is looking its best for makeup. And it's similar to my morning skincare routine, but I'm going to mention a few different things and a few techniques, and we're going to talk about primers and like color correcting, anything that falls into that prep category of before you go ahead and put on your foundation. So yeah, let's get started. First thing I want to talk about is actually lip prep. I feel like people forget about this part, but your lips are important. They're part of your face, and it can definitely affect the way your makeup looks, especially lipstick. Obviously. So I like to start with exfoliating my lips, especially if they're feeling particularly dry. Sometimes I do this in the evening before bed, but sometimes it happens before makeup if they're feeling particularly a little dry. I like to use a little lip exfoliator. Elf makes a great one in the little tube here. You just scroll it up and scrub it on, or you can get one that's in a little pot that is like a sugar type scrub. This one's from Colleen Rothschild. Tastes like heaven, smells like heaven. It's like a caramely brown sugar goodness. Oh my god, it's so good. But yeah, just any kind of lip scrub. You can even take just a Q-tip or a hand towel or washcloth and just kind of scrub your lips a little bit. Or when you're brushing your teeth, take the toothbrush on your lips. Anything, just get some of that dead skin off, because it drives me crazy. I always have dead skin on my lips, and it's just like one of those things. And you'll forget it's there, and you go put on lipstick, and it's like, oh, yeah. So let's prep the lips first. I am going to start with the lip scrub. I'm going to use the Colleen Rothschild one today. And you don't need much of these. These will last you a long time. And you just scrub her on here. This is one that I use more in the evening most of the time because it's a little bit messier. And I use the Elf one during the day. I just want to taste and smell this one, so. But yeah, these are like usually infused with an oil and a sugar. And you can just scrub around the mouth with your finger. That one is so nice. It's so tasty. Are you supposed to eat these? Probably not, but that one tastes real good. If you have a good lip scrub, your lips will already be feeling hydrated as well, because they tend to have a hydrating component to them. You could also do a lip mask, like one of the little sheet masks. Great thing to do for prepping for makeup for like more of a special occasion. I'd recommend that. And then I like to go in with a lip balm. Laneige makes an amazing one. We all know the Laneige lip mask. And then there's also this one that's a vitamin E lip moisturizer from Colleen Rothschild. Absolutely beautiful product. There's a million and 10 different lip balms on the market you can choose from, lip oils, all that kind of thing. Whatever suits your fancy. Just something hydrating on the lips is really important, especially if it's like for a special occasion, for sure. You want everything to be kind of perfect. So take a little bit of that and work that into the lips. Then obviously you want to have clean skin before you sit down to doing your makeup. You know, so everything's all nice and fresh, ready to go. You don't have to like use a harsh cleanser or anything like that for the morning. I usually use the more hardcore cleansers at night and double cleanse, but for during the day, I like something very gentle, just a little creamy light cleanser that's not super harsh on the skin, but enough to cleanse it and get any remnants of last night's skincare off, or sweat or whatever that has accumulated throughout the night, and dry shampoo. And the next thing I like to do is go ahead and use like any sort of toner type product. My favorite, that has been my favorite for a long time, is the Micro Mineral Soothing Toner from Colleen Rothschild, because it is a soothing, which is just a really nice thing to have before you do your makeup. Something that can calm the skin. You could use one that has a mild exfoliant in it if you need that. It's really up to you. I just like to use any sort of nice toner. But in my personal opinion, something soothing can be really nice in the morning or before makeup because it just keeps the skin very calm. However, if you are somebody who has maybe some congested skin, some dry skin, and some surface things that need exfoliating, one that offers like a slight chemical exfoliation can be really nice for during the day. Paracone makes a really good one. Lots of different wonderful primers on the market to suit your skin needs, but a safe bet is just one that's soothing, because you don't have to worry about any redness or any irritation potentially that can happen from a toner, because some toners can be reactive on the skin if they have some sort of chemical exfoliant in them. So just be mindful of that. But I just like to sweep a little bit of this across the face, and it's just cooling, it feels good, and gets things ready for all the skincare. An essence at this point is also a wonderful option. And if you are somebody who has a little bit of flaky skin or something, exfoliating little cotton rounds. You can use reusable cotton rounds. I have quite a few of those also. But these from Walmart, these are the exfoliating ovals. They have a bit of a textured side to them. They are awesome for getting any dead skin off the face, because I do have surface dryness occasionally on my forehead, like between my brows. I'll have a little dry patch there, and just helps kind of get any flakiness off the skin so everything's nice and smooth and good to go. Speaking of keeping the skin smooth, you could also do a little dermaplaning if you wanted to remove that peach fuzz. I would recommend doing that the night before, however, in the evenings, just in case your skin is one that gets a little irritated or reactive from shaving, which can definitely happen. I reserve that to be more part of a nighttime skincare routine. But yeah, just sweeping a little bit of this across skin just gets it nice and ready for makeup. I feel like nice and ready for all the skincare and the prep, because I feel like it just helps everything absorb a little better and gets everything kind of just soothed and calm and ready to go. Because I do have skin that goes red very easily, which you'll see throughout this video. As I touch my skin, it gets very red. I'm prone to hives and itchiness and all that jazz. A lot of skin allergies over here. So I try to be cautious with the products I use during the day and stick to more gentle things for daytime, and then any of my actives is evening. Next step would be like a serum. You don't have to do a serum, but I think it is a good idea to throw a hydrating serum in at this point. 3 that I really enjoy. First would be the Super Anti-Aging Serum from Dr. Barbara Strum. This is more of like a hyaluronic acid, very hydrating skincare item. It has a few other ingredients and claims, but it's mainly like a hyaluronic acid type of serum. It doesn't leave any stickiness or anything like that on the skin. It just soaks in really well. If you're looking for something that's very soothing, if you tend to have more reactive skin, maybe have some itchiness going on, redness, rosacea, inflammation in the skin that can cause irritation, just general irritation, acne, what have you. Something like this from Herbivore, the Green Magic. It has cica and ceramides. Both are very soothing products, or both are very soothing ingredients on the skin. I really like this recently because I have had some reactions to some SPFs and have needed that calming effect on the skin, and this is wonderful for that. It is a green product. Like when it comes out, it's mint green, but it doesn't offer any cosmetic color correction. It goes clear once you blend it in, so it's not going to really do much for that. It's more about the ingredient in it, and it will just kind of help soothe the redness and calm any irritation that you got going on down. This also offers a lot of hydration to the skin, so if you're oily, you could just use this and move on with your skincare. This could be your moisturizer. You don't have to use a separate one if you're particularly oily. If you're combo, leaning dry, this is just a great serum. And yeah, very hydrating. If you're really dry, this one from Glow Recipe is wonderful. This is the Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Dewdrops. If you are dry, this is a very hydrating product. Almost leans a little bit into the greasy side. It's not my favorite for daytime because of that, but I wanted to mention it because if for someone who may have particularly dry skin, this is a really nice option. And if you can tolerate niacinamide, niacinamide can cause reactions occasionally. I've had some that have given me breakouts. I've had others that don't. Like this one doesn't really cause any breakout issues, but I've used other ones that have done a number on my skin. So if you tolerate niacinamide well, this one from Glow Recipe is wonderful for dry skin. Now I'm going to split the difference today, and we're going to go in with the Green Magic. This, I just wanted to show you how it operates from one thing and what it looks like. And we all know how a hyaluronic acid serum works. We all use those, I'm sure, at some point. I really do stand by a hyaluronic acid serum underneath makeup. It does wonders. I'm not too concerned with vitamin C products because I feel like they're just a waste. At the end of the day, I don't get enough benefit from them to spend the money on a really good one, and they go bad on me way too quick. I never get to use them up before they turn, so I don't fool with the vitamin C too much. I'm not super concerned with the niacinamide because my skin doesn't always tolerate it well, so I don't look for that in a product. If it's an added ingredient something but not the main ingredient, it's fine. But when it's like the main ingredient, it tends to not go well for me. So we're gonna take a little bit of the herbivore. And the reason I'm doing this also is a standalone video and not with like a full coverage or foundation video or something like this, because I have a lot to say and we'll be here forever, and I can just link this as a reference of how I prep my skin regardless of how I'm doing my makeup. So it looks like this, the Green Magic, but it is gonna blend out or sheer out to be clear on the skin. See, it disappears. It doesn't leave like a green cast or anything. There are some on the market. I think Dr. Jar makes one that has much more of a cosmetic effect as well as the skincare effect. And just start to massage this into the face. And this one's just really lovely because it is hydrating, and my skin does lean combo. Can be a little bit on the oilier side of things, less so recently, I don't know. This one's played well with all my moisturizers and things without making my skin feel too hydrated and greasy, because that can happen with, you know, skincare sometimes. It's like too much hydration. But yeah, this one, it absorbs into the skin really well, but you can definitely feel it hydrating, and it has a richer serum texture. And it just really helps to kind of calm the skin. And I enjoy that about it, especially in this time of year. It's spring. While I'm filming this, it is April. My skin tends to get a little bit more reactive to things, just pollen, whatever. I'm allergic to grass and people are mowing yards constantly. I have a lot of like contact dermatitis and stuff from nature. So something like this is very helpful to just soothe the skin. Now, just let that kind of get good and soaked in. Eye cream. A few eye creams I want to mention that are kind of different formulations of who I think it would suit best. Personally, I have been reaching a lot for the Ultimate 5 solution from Peter Thomas Roth. This one offers smoothing, depuffing, firming, brightening, and moisturizing all in one, and it is non-greasy. It doesn't leave a heaviness under the eye. It absorbs really, really quickly. You're not going to feel any excess moisture under the eye, which is great for oily skin. And sometimes when a under eye cream is a little bit heavier or a little bit more on that hydrating side and it sits on the skin too much, it can lead to your concealer breaking apart and cracking or getting creasy and stuff like that. So something like this I prefer for daytime because it's very lightweight and quick absorbing on the skin. Josie Marin makes one, her Pro Retinol, I believe it's Pro Retinol under eye cream. It offers a very smoothing effect to it. It has almost a putty primer texture, and it really does smooth the under eyes and offers that little bit of retinol and skincare in there as well. It's a wonderful under eye prep item. But this one I'm really enjoying lately. If you're really dry under the eyes, something like this one from Dr. Barbara Strum, Super Anti-Aging Under Eye Cream. I use this one in the evenings more so because it is a little bit heavier, a little richer. It does sit on the skin a little bit more. And just a little bit more moisturizing, which if you have drier under eyes, this will be great for you during the day as well. But this one's more of my nighttime one. I just wanted to mention it in case you need something that is a little extra hydrating. There are some really nice options at the drugstore for under eye creams as well. Rock makes lovely ones. L'Oreal has some. Olay. You don't have to spend Dr. Barbara Strum price points. Like the Pure Thomas Roth one's fairly mid-range price. Not much more than what you would spend at the drugstore, to be honest with you. So these more kind of mid-range brands at Sephora, on the grand scheme of things, when you look at them compared to drugstore skincare, they're almost comparable in price. Maybe a $10, $20 difference. And at that point, I mean, might as well get the mid-range. So I'm going to use some of this one today from Pure Thomas Roth. I really enjoy Pure Thomas Roth skincare, by the way, and Ole Henriksen. Ole Henriksen makes some great under eye products as well. But yeah, it looks like this. It looks like it's going to be really rich, but it's fairly thin. It's a light pink in color, but doesn't really do a whole lot as far as color correction or anything like that. It just makes your under eyes look and feel really nice. And I just pat a little bit of this on, usually to my ring fingers if I can, whatever finger it happens to land on, just doing a gentle patting motion. And I will take it onto the lid because I get dry right here on this inner part, and so I like to make sure that's prepped, but I'm not putting a absolute ton on the eyelid itself for daytime. At night I slather the eyes down, but daytime I like to keep it light and not too heavy on the lids themselves because I have very, very oily eyelids. They get very creasy, so I don't need a ton there during the day. Now again, at night, pile it on because I'm not worried about things getting greasy at night. Yeah, just gonna press that in and kind of push outward a little bit towards the temple, help with any inflammation. Again, the brow bone. And you may have noticed I've done my brows first. I always do my brows before my skincare if I think about it. That's my preferred way to do it. Sometimes I forget. And yeah, you can do a little light massage around the eyes. Get some nice blood flow, lymphatic drainage going. I don't like to be too rough around the eyes because that's very delicate skin. So make sure you have a lot of slip if you're doing massaging around the eye area. And there's no tugging. But mostly I just kind of pat that in. And it absorbs really quickly, soaks right in, goes to work doing what it needs to do. Now, moisturizer. There are so many moisturizers on the market, so many options, depending what's going on and what you might need. Why did I bring my night cream in here? First, you have your regular moisturizer that's geared towards hydration. Something like this one, which is from Dr. Barbara Strum. This is the Super Anti-Aging Face Cream. This one's a very hydrating option. If you use something like this, I would say give it a good 20 minutes to soak into the skin before you go with your makeup, because it's very rich and hydrating. And I still use this during the day despite being combo, just making sure I have enough time for it to really soak in and absorb. But I love this one, especially if I'm feeling a little bit drier. And then we were getting into the warmer months. I really, really enjoyed this one from Clarins. This is their Hydra Essential Cream, and this is a water cream. Tatcha makes one, Neutrogena makes one. A lot of brands have water creams. I think Pure Thomas Roth and Ole Henriksen have something similar as well. And it looks like it's a really rich product, but it's actually like super watery thin and just soaks into the skin and absorbs beautifully. And this one also has a lovely fragrance and doesn't leave any heaviness on the skin, no greasiness, but very, very absorbent. But it absorbs very well, doesn't pill or anything like that. One issue I have with like the more gel-based hydrating products that are usually geared towards oily skin, I find that they pill so bad. Every one of them I've tried, I don't like the way they feel. I feel like they leave a film on my face. This doesn't do this. This one soaks in beautifully, and I highly recommend that one from Clarins. And if you're looking for something for more on the mature skin side, which obviously these are all great for more mature skin. The super anti-aging cream right here is geared towards more mature skin. And this one is, you know, very rich, much more traditional cream formula. But another one that I just really love, especially for daytime, because I feel like it does a lot for the skin immediately and over time, that we really see a smoothing effect, is the Shiseido Vital Perfection Uplifting and Firming Advanced Cream. This one's of course geared towards more mature skin, and it is a very rich looking product, very thick in the pot, but it is, and it has that almost a little bit of a dimethicone feel to it, but once you apply it to the skin, it soaks in super quick and absorbs and doesn't leave a greasiness on the skin. So I don't feel like it offers like the crazy hydration, but it definitely smooths the skin, and it has a ton of wonderful ingredients within that help with anti-aging. So this one I would definitely pair up with like a hydrating serum. These other two you really don't have to if you don't feel the need to, if that's up to you. But this one just really like absorbs super fast and gives the skin a very prepped, almost primer-like feel. And it's really lovely and has a beautiful fragrance. And I would definitely recommend that one. I know it's a little more on the expensive side of things. This one, the Dr. Barbara Sturm and the Shiseido, if they're in your budget, I think they're great options. Dr. Barbara Sturm is also, like, I think, fragrance-free and very gentle products. But yeah, this one, it is good, I think, for oily skin as well, because it doesn't sit on the skin. And that's one thing I've noticed with more mature skin products. They tend to be very hydrating and thick and rich. And not all mature skin is dry. My mom had oily skin until the day she died. Like, just oily. And something like this would have been wonderful for her to use during the day. And some hydration does help balance out oily skin. So keep that in mind as well. Don't be scared of moisturizer and hydrating serums and stuff if you're oily. You just got to pick the right formulation that works with your skin. Now moving on to like a couple other moisturizers that I think are very much geared towards prepping the skin for makeup would be like something like the Vitamin Rich Face Base from Bobbi Brown. This is a hydrating product packed with skincare, but it also offers a very smoothing, kind of firming look to the skin, much similar to the Shiseido does. This definitely gets the skin just very ready for makeup. It's a very adjustable product. I feel like you can use a smaller amount if you're oilier. If you need more hydration, you can put a little more. It's very fast absorbing, soaks in, doesn't leave a greasy texture or anything like that. But it just makes the skin look so radiant and healthy and juiced up and moisturized and smooth. Like, it definitely kind of plumps up fine lines and wrinkles, which is the Shiseido also can do. Another one would be the Lawless Forget the Filler Skin Plumping Line Smoothing Cream. This one is geared towards, it's called a Perfecting Cream. This one offers hydration, beautiful level of hydration, as well as those kind of primer-like benefits of smoothing things out and plumping the skin. And I've become much more inclined to products like these that offer more skincare than cosmetic side of things for prepping the skin for makeup. Where I used to use primers all the time. I had to use a primer. I really don't mess with primers that often. On the rare occasion, I'll use one like the NYX Marshmallow Primer. I like this one because it feels more like skincare on the skin. It doesn't really do a whole lot of anything, to be honest with you. So I don't find this to be the most effective primer, but if you're dry, this could be really nice because it does feel very hydrating, and it has marshmallow root in it and some skincare benefits. But I'm not like somebody who absolutely has to use primer. I feel like if you got your skincare down and all of that going for you, you don't really need a dedicated primer unless you have a very specific need. If you're wanting to blur pores, then that's a great time to throw a little bit of pore blurring primer on, something like a putty primer or whatever. I'm just now like testing this one just to see what it's like, but I'm not committed to primers. They make hydrating primers, which I feel is a little redundant when you do have your skincare. So I don't feel like you need both unless you've done your skincare hours earlier and you just want to go in and put something a little hydrating on before your foundation. You could do something like the Lawless or the Bobbi Brown. No, Smashbox. They've got a primer for everything. So if you have a specific concern with primers, Smashbox would be a great brand to look at. A lot of drugstore brands have tons of primers. And there's some beautiful ones on the market. Don't get me wrong. There's some that are effective and do a lot. I just don't feel like they're absolutely necessary when you've got your skincare routine down, unless there's something very specific that you're needing. Okay, so but for moisturizer today, let's use the Lawless since it is in front of me. It is pink. It is pretty. It doesn't have a fragrance, and yeah, it kind of almost goes to a water cream feel on the skin. It is super duper light and just kind of melts when you apply it and soaks in. Very similar in texture to the Clarins. And the Bobbi Brown is kind of in between a traditional moisturizer and a water cream. Like, it kind of fits in the middle. And I believe there's a couple of different types of the Vitamin Rich Face Base, if I'm not mistaken. But there's something just kind of magical about Vitamin Rich Face Base and this Lawless one. They, to me, tackle anything that I would need from a primer in one step, and I don't feel like I miss anything by skipping primer. I really like to, while I'm applying my moisturizer, any of the options I've mentioned, I like to kind of massage them in and go towards the perimeter of the face to kind of help with lymphatic drainage while I'm at it. And you don't have to spend hours doing this or anything crazy or need tools. Just use your hands and just give yourself a nice little massage, like along the jawline here. Take your knuckles, do this, and do this a few times, and it really helps kind of push fluid out of the face. But these are, the products that I tend to bounce between, depending on my skin's needs that day. I usually try to stay consistent with the same product. And say you did your skincare a couple hours before you're actually sitting down to do your makeup. Do it, you might do your skincare in the bathroom when you get up in the morning after you wash your face. Something like the Lawless cream or the Vitamin Rich Face Base or hydrating primer can be nice to apply on the skin at that point. I really like to make sure this worked into the skin really well and give it adequate time to soak in and absorb and do what it needs to do. And don't forget the neck. Jumping back to under eyes for a second, as far as like under eye prep. If you have dark circles that need correcting, which I'm not too concerned with dark circles. I have more just a shadow of just lack of volume. It's not pigment. But if you have issues with dark circles, need some brightening and color correction, Ulla Hendrickson makes these little sticks, and they now come in a light pink shade, which I'm very excited about, and I really, really want the light pink. But this is the banana shade. I think this is the lightest in the yellowy toned ones. These are awesome because they are infused with skincare, but they offer the cosmetic correction as well. And you can use these to kind of cancel out spots on the face. They're great for no makeup days. But I like to take a little bit of this if my under eyes are feeling particularly dark, or I have something like this right here, this redness going on. But I'll just tap a little bit under here. Not a huge amount or anything like that, but it can just kind of brighten things up, even out, and cancel out darkness. And you can see the banana shade is effective on me. I really, really want that light pink shade. And this can operate as an eye cream as well, because it has caffeine and it has, I think, peptides in it, and skincare, as well as the color correction. And you can see the difference. That under eye is just a little brighter than the other. Great option. And this comes in 4 shades now. It goes all the way up to a deep kind of apricot, orangey shade. Fantastic for deeper skin tones. But this is doing the most if I'm going in with this too. I'm like feeling like I particularly need some correction or something, which isn't often. And like my under eyes don't get too terribly dark, but a little brightening never hurt anybody. And you can just tap it on. You don't have to swipe a ton on or anything like that. Less is more when it comes to under eye product, especially if you're getting into the more, if you have creasier under eyes, fine lines, wrinkles, all that. Less is more. Because the more you put on there, the more it is to break down on you, settle into fine lines and crease and all of that. Your concealer's gonna crease. Just some products are less prone to creasing than others. So just do bear that in mind, but there are ways you can kind of mitigate and get the best results out of a concealer or your under eye makeup. But it's always gonna have some creasing just because you live life, you smile, you move your under eyes, you move your eyes. We make expressions, and it's okay. You can take a little bit of this on the lid as well if you want to for some color correction. If anywhere, it's my actual eyelids that have that needs correcting. But just brighten stuff up. And you see this red patch I got here? I had a little, had a pimple here, and I think I got a mosquito bite on my cheek there. I can take some of this over top of that and just knock some of that redness down. Throwing this in with a skin prep because this is a skin prep item more so than a makeup item. But look at there. It really did help kind of take some of that down and not look like I have a yellow patch on my face. For day to day, I would throw on an SPF. I would do that at this point as well. Probably before I did the color correction. I just kind of forgot what order I'm going in. I would have done this last through Ula Hendrickson. But on the average day, I would throw on some SPF. I keep weird hours. I'm not always out and about during daylight hours, so I don't have to use SPF. But if I am up during the day, like a normal human is, and out and about, SPF, and I look for SPFs that are cosmetically graceful, well formulated, that have mineral SPF, not chemical. I'm very allergic to chemical SPF, like very allergic. So mineral SPFs are the way to go for me, but they're also not the easiest to find that look nice under makeup or just on the face in general. A lot of times they tend to be a bit more heavy and greasy and chalky, all these things. 2 that I would highly, highly recommend that are not greasy and that actually offer a little bit of a primer cosmetic benefit to them is the First Aid Beauty Weightless Mineral SPF and the Kinship Self-Reflect Probiotic Moisturizing Sunscreen. Both of these offer a slight blurring effect to the skin as well as the SPF, and they both have other skincare benefits. Both of these work great on my skin. I don't feel like they make me oily or anything like that, and they don't feel chalky either. They play really, really well with makeup and my skincare that I apply beforehand. Sometimes I do like to give the skincare a little while to soak in before I go straight in with the SPFs. And I also like to give the SPF a minute to absorb into the skin before I move on to foundation. Both of these benefit from giving them a couple of minutes of just kind of doing their magic on the skin. Give them like 2 or 3 minutes before you go in and do foundation. These both have very different textures and formulas. This one's more what feels almost like a dry oil in texture. It's very runny, very thin, very liquidy. You can hear that. This one is more of a traditional cream, but they both have very similar effects on the skin. They can offer a little bit of glow as well, but not oily. They're just beautiful, wonderful, wonderful SPFs. Dermalogica also makes a great one that used to not irritate my skin. I haven't used it in a little while, but this is their Dynamic Skin Recovery. This one's really good if you're on the drier side of things, but it's also very cosmetically beautiful. And for an SPF, it is virtually invisible on the skin, which is very, very nice. So yeah, that's some nice SPF options. If it's a special occasion, if there's going to be photography, if it's a night event, anything, bright lights, stuff like that, and or just a daytime event even that is like a special occasion, once in a blue moon kind of thing, I'll skip the SPF. But for day-to-day, the SPF is always on the face for daytime. Again, like I said, I don't go out in the sun too terribly often. Like, I don't leave the house during the day a lot. So there are definitely days that the SPF gets skipped, or I'm filming in the evening or something like that. So that's pretty much my skin prep 101 of what I like to do to my face before I put on foundation and do my makeup. I like to make sure the skin is very well prepped, and that kind of mitigates the need for additional products of like a primer or something as well. Once you get that skincare locked down, you'll feel less need, I think, for primers. Unless you just want them. They're fun, they're fine. I've just noticed that I don't feel drawn to needing primers as much as I used to if I am using items like the Lawless and the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Rich Face Base, because they kind of operate in a similar vein. And those SPFs, they offer a little bit of pore smoothing and elongating makeup. And one last little tip I want to throw in: if you feel like your skin has just too much moisture on it when you go to do your makeup, if it's feeling slippy and greasy or something, if you use maybe too much moisturizer or whatever, grab a tissue and you can blot the excess away. It's fine. And go in with your foundation. I don't often come across that issue because I kind of tweak the amounts of product I use depending on the formulation. Like if I'm using the Dr. Barbara Sturm one, I'm not piling a ton of this on. I'm just using a pea-size amount, which I recommend for everything. Is, start with less and then add as you need, as how your skin feels. Like if you feel like you need a little extra moisturizer, go for it that day. Whatever. Do what your skin needs. Listen to what your skin's saying to you. But it happens occasionally, you put on a little too much of moisturizer or whatever, and it just feels like it's just not soaking in. You can take a tissue and blot some of that excess away. And if you've got the extra time for a special event, go ahead and do the sheet mask. Let yourself marinate in it. The under eye patches, all the things. I'm not one to fool with it, even on special occasions. I don't bother. For special occasions, if I knew I had something big coming up, I would do an exfoliating mask a couple of nights before, depending on the mask. If it's the Ulla Hendrickson mask, I'll show here. If it's that one, I can do that day of and be good to go. But if it's something like a Solicate, I give it 2 days to let the skin calm down, because sometimes it can be a little harsh on my skin. But yeah, daytime skincare, though, to me is more focused towards moisturizing, hydration, plumping the skin up, making it appear as youthful as possible, plumping out those fine lines, everything looking smooth and prepped and nice and soothed and calm at the same time, minimizing redness and all of those things. That's what I look for in my daytime skin prep for makeup. I want the skin to be at its best as far as skincare goes. That way, when it comes time to do the foundation, whatever coverage level I'm going for that day or look, I don't feel like I have to over apply product. I can always use the smallest amount, not having to use an excess of anything, and keep things in very thin layers, and it'll always kind of keep the foundation long wearing and looking natural throughout the day once you have that skincare taken care of. And I don't mean that the skincare is only for days I'm wearing makeup. This is my everyday skincare. But it's skincare that performs really well as just skin prep. And if I were a makeup artist, these are steps that I would do on a client. I would do the massaging. I would make sure that there's a good at least moisturizer on the skin. Ask the client about what skincare they do, what type of skin they have, so you can tailor it to them. But like a staple that I think any makeup artist should have in their kit is the Vitamin Rich Face Base, because it is a very adjustable product. They also make an under eye cream as well that's in the same range. And to me, it's a very universally friendly skincare item that preps the skin beautifully, adds all the hydration, plumps things up without adding too much greasiness or anything to the skin. And you can adjust the amount you apply depending on the person's skin, or like your skin. It's a very adjustable. And yeah, I think you do whatever your skin needs for your skincare. This is what I feel like works the best for me, is focusing more on the soothing, hydrating side of things and anti-aging side of things. I use a lot of actives in my nighttime skincare routine. I use primarily a few BHAs, AHAs, retinols for my nighttime skincare. So daytime, it's very much focused on just comforting the skin and making things feel happy, soothed, useful, and hydrated. But to me, these are kind of the things the building blocks that set my skin and makeup up for success throughout the day, whether I do makeup or not, or what type of makeup I do. So yeah, let me know down below if you have any questions about skincare, skin prep for makeup, product recommendations, because I definitely could recommend more stuff than this. This is just what I have on hand that I've been reaching for recently in the last year or so, but I've used products in the past that I think are wonderful and great skin prep items. I'll link some more options down below of maybe some more affordable skincare items that I think you could sub out for maybe some of the more higher end things that I've mentioned that can work just as well. There's some very affordable skincare actually that is amazing. Believe Beauty from Dollar General. Phenomenal skincare, like high-end good. So I'll link some alternatives down below. They're maybe a little more affordable or just more accessible or whatever that I've used and tried and enjoy and trust. So yeah, anyways, questions, comments, concerns, drop them down below. And yeah, that is how I prep my skin for makeup and day to day. Oh, let me give you a close-up. Here's what the skin looks like. Healthy, happy, and plump and youthful, and not greasy feeling at all. That's also what I go for. I don't want to feel greasy, but I want to be very hydrated. So it's a balance you gotta strike. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye now.